The following are quotes 241 to 280 from the Book of Wise Sayings, selected largely from Eastern sources, which was published in 1893. It was edited by William Alexander Clouston. Enjoy. The sun opens the lotuses, the moon illumines the beds of water lilies, the cloud pours forth its water unasked. Even so, the liberal of their own accord are occupied in benefiting others. We blame equally him who is too proud to put a proper value on his own merit, and him who prizes too highly his spurious worth. Men are so simple and yield so much to necessity, that he who will deceive may always find him that will lend himself to be deceived. Obstinate silence implies either a mean opinion of ourselves or a contempt for our company, and it is the more provoking as others do not know to which of these causes to attribute it, whether humility or pride. If thou desire not to be poor, desire not to be too rich. He is rich, not that possesses much, but he that covets no more, and he is poor, not that enjoys little, but he that wants too much. The contented mind wants nothing which it hath not. The covetous mind wants not only what it hath not, but likewise what it hath. Those noble men who falsehood dread in wealth and glory ever grow, as flames with greater brightness glow with oil in ceaseless flow when fed. But like to flames with water drenched, which faintly flickering die away, so liars day by day decay, till all their lustre soon is quenched. Watch over thy expenditure, for he who through vain glory spendeth uselessly what he hath on empty follies, will receive neither return nor praise from anyone. If thou art a man, speak not much about thine own manliness, for not every champion driveth the ball to the goal. The potter forms what he pleases with soft clay, so a man accomplishes his works by his own act. No man of high and generous spirit is ever willing to indulge in flattery. The good may feel affection for others, but will not flatter them. An ass will with his long ears fray the flies that tickle him away, but man delights to have his ears blown maggots in by flatterers. Books are pleasant, but if by being over-studious we impair our health and spoil our good humor, two of the best things we have, let us give it over. I, for my part, am one of those who think no fruit derived from them can recompense so great a loss. He is happiest, be he king or peasant, who finds peace in his home. If with a stranger thou discourse, first learn by strictest observation to discern if he be wiser than thyself. If so, be dumb, and rather choose by him to know. But if thyself perchance the wiser be, then do thou speak that he may learn by thee. Being continually in people's sight, by the satiety which it creates, diminishes the reverence felt for great characters. There is a great difference between one who can feel ashamed before his own soul and one who is only ashamed before his fellow men. By rousing himself, by earnestness, by restraint and control, the wise man may make for himself an island which no flood can overwhelm. The best way to make ourselves agreeable to others is by seeming to think them so. If we appear fully sensible of their good qualities, they will not complain of the want of them in us. To form a judgment intuitively is the privilege of few. Authority and example lead the rest of the world. They see with the eyes of others, they hear with the ears of others. Therefore it is very easy to think as all the world now think. But to think as all the world will think 30 years hence is not in the power of everyone. Poesy is a beauteous damsel, chaste, honorable, discreet, witty, retired, and who keeps herself within the limits of propriety. She is a friend of solitude. Fountains entertain her, meadows console her, woods free her from ennui, flowers delight her. In short, she gives pleasure and instruction to all with whom she communicates. How can we learn to know ourselves? By reflection, never, but by our actions. Attempt to do your duty and you will immediately find what is in you. Man is supreme lord and master of his own ruin and disaster, controls his fate, but nothing less in ordering his own happiness. For all his care and providence is too feeble a defense to render it secure and certain against the injuries of fortune. And oft, in spite of all his wit, is lost by one unlucky hit, and ruined with a circumstance and mere punctilio of a chance. There is nothing in this world which a resolute man who exerts himself cannot attain. It need be shown some men will act, as trees may fruit without a flower. To some you speak with no result, as seeds may die and yield no grain. 7 things characterize the wise man and 7 the blockhead. The wise man speaks not before those who are his superiors, either in age or wisdom. He interrupts not others in the midst of their discourse. He replies not hastily. His questions are relevant to the subject, his answers to the purpose. In delivering his sentiments, he taketh the first in order first, the last last. What he understands not, he says, I understand not. He acknowledges his error and is open to conviction. The reverse of all this characterizes the blockhead. How absolute and omnipotent is the silence of the night, and yet the stillness seems almost audible. From all the measureless depths of air around us comes a half sound, a half whisper, as if we could hear the crumbling and falling away of the earth and all created things in the great miracle of nature. Decay and reproduction, ever beginning, never ending, the gradual lapse and running of the sand in the great hourglass of time. What avails your wealth if it makes you arrogant to the poor? All confidence is dangerous unless it is complete. There are few circumstances in which it is not better either to hide all or to tell all. It is well that there is no one without a fault, for he would not have a friend in the world. He would seem to belong to a different species. The mind alike, vigorous or weak, is capable of culture, but still bears fruit according to its nature. 'Tis not the teacher's skill that rears the scholar. The sparkling gem gives back the glorious radiance it drinks from other light. But the dull earth absorbs the blaze and yields no gleam again. One man envies the success in life of another, and hates him in secret. Nor is he willing to give him good advice when he is consulted, except it be by some wonderful effort of good feeling. And there are, alas, few such men in the world. A real friend, on the other hand, exults in his friend's happiness, rejoices in all his joys, and is ready to afford him the best advice. This body is a tent, which for a space does the pure soul with kingly presence grace. When he departs, comes the tent pitcher, death strikes it, and moves to a new halting place. Speak but little, and that little only when thy own purposes require it. Heaven has given thee 2 ears but only 1 tongue, which means listen to 2 things, but be not the first to propose one. The natural hostility of beasts is laid aside when flying from pursuers, so also when danger is impending the enmity of rivals is ended. He who toils with pain will eat with pleasure. A day of fortune is like a harvest day. We must be busy when the corn is ripe. The fame of good men's actions seldom goes beyond their own doors, but their evil deeds are carried 1,000 miles distance. A subtle-witted man is like an arrow, which rending little surface enters deeply. But they whose minds are dull resemble stones dashing with clumsy force, but never piercing. It is good to tame the mind, which is difficult to hold in and flighty, rushing wheresoever it listeth. A tamed mind brings blessings. The man who every sacred science knows, yet has not strength to keep in check the foes. That rise within him mars his fortune's fame, and brings her by his feebleness to shame.